All right, guys, Zach Merbach from ZMF here. Today we're going to be changing over this old, bulky aluminum chassis, gimbals, and frame over to the sleeker, more rounded, more svelte aluminum chassis of Current. It'll save you a good amount of weight on your headphone and look a little sleeker. So this is actually my old personal set of Atticus, so I'm just going to get a new chassis on here, kind of give it the newer ZMF look. So this, anyone who is replacing their gimbals at home, this video is for you, or replacing the entire chassis, we'll go through the entire process. Every headphone we sell does come with these hex keys. It's a 2mm and 3mm hex key. We at the shop use kind of ones that go into, automatic screwdriver leg tools to kind of speed things up. But you could very well do it by hand with these hex keys that come with your headphone. If you have a screwdriver, be careful because it, has a little bit more torque on it, but it'll work just as well. So first thing we're going to want to do is get the chassis off of the headphone. So I'm going to take my 2mm key, and first you'll see this is the rotational set screw that keeps the gimbal from sliding too far. You can see there's that slot in the headphone right there. We want to get those out first. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove this set screw. We'll keep it because we might want to use it later. I'll go do it on the other side here. And then the second thing we're going to do, I'm going to switch hex keys here real quick and get out the larger screw, which will enable you to take off the headphone. One thing you'll notice that you want to keep on this gimbal here, and I'll get the other one out before I show you, is there's little square-shouldered grommets that we're going to reuse on the next gimbal. So there's one there. Here's one here. If we're sending you these parts, we're typically going to send you a few more of these grommets as well. Here's a couple new ones I'll just grab from the tools right here just to have out. So here's the right cup. I'm going to put this over here. Let's get the left cup out real quick. All right, so we got the cups off. I'm going to get rid of this old chassis. Just chuck it out of the way here. All right, so we've got our right and our left cup. I'm just going to kind of place those there. The first thing we need to do is fit this gimbal onto a cup. Both gimbals are the same, so they can go on either side. What I do first is I'll kind of look and see how the fit is here. Because one thing I like to do is kind of maybe bend the gimbal if needed to make it just a touch tighter. I'm just going to take the gimbal and just apply a little bit of even pressure till I feel it give just the tiniest bit. Not a lot of pressure is needed because it's fairly thin aluminum. Because right there I can see that gap. That's all the space I have on for both sides. Because really we want it to be kind of a snug fit with both of these square-shouldered gaskets on either side. So I'm going to go ahead, and that looks pretty good. So first thing I'll do, we're going to reuse these bolts that were in the other side. It's a 6mm bolt. And I'm just going to thread this through in and out, make sure it goes in nice and clean. And we're just going to place that rubber gasket. It's an EPOM gasket actually. I'm going to go ahead and place that on the side right there. Make sure this is threaded in. And the key is just kind of making sure you see how I have that gasket placed right over the hole into the headphone, and then I just kind of threaded the bolt just a little bit in, just a few threads in, so I can kind of guide it right over the gasket and get it placed right there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the bit right in the gimbal, place it over, and you just got to kind of guide it in, hold everything in place, give myself a little more room to work with, and then guide it right into the cup. And I'm going to go all the way in there. This will get thread locked, but not till later, not till we have the whole thing on. And then here's the other side that doesn't have the gasket in yet. I'll grab my rubber gasket. Same thing. If you did a good job of getting your right tension on your rod there, it'll kind of fit right under there and stay. And then we're going to go right into this side. And then the last thing, you kind of check your tension. I like a little bit of tension on this, not too little, not too much. You know, just enough so that it's not going to swing freely, but that if you put a little pressure on it, it moves. So if you hold it like this and it swings down, I'd say that's probably a little too loose. You could probably tighten this up a little, either with another gasket or bending the gimbal itself. Your gimbal will come with a couple of these new set screws because of the lesser thickness of the new gimbal. You won't need quite as deep a set screw. Just going to go in there. So now we have that tension screw in. This is not going to, it's not going to shift over that much. So that side's done. Let's just go ahead and do the other side real quick here. Just get it in there just a little bit. And this will apply to either the magnesium chassis or the aluminum chassis. Either chassis that you get, they'll be installed the same way. There are a couple little precautions to take care of with the thread locker if you're using the magnesium chassis, just because the magnesium, some of those are painted instead of anodized because of the magnesium material. So you just want to be careful not to get to leave any thread locker on there. So place that over there. We're going to do the same thing. Get that placed in. Let's do the other side. See, this one's a little bit tighter actually. So I'm just going to kind of pull, give myself a little more space actually, so see how this is really tight here? I'm actually going to go ahead and pull this out and loosen this gasket, this gimbal, I mean, loosen the gimbal just a little bit, give myself a little more space. So I want to really have that exact same tension as the other side, which is really important to getting a good feeling headphone, having this exact same tension on both sides. So let's just go a little more. Here we go. All right. Put this gasket there. And again. Slide the gasket under. We're going to go ahead and check tension here. Yeah, that's pretty good. Again, I mean, it's not sliding over, but just a little bit of tension there. We'll move it. You know, one thing you can do if it feels a little tight, just kind of move this in and out to kind of loosen up the wood a little bit. Just going in and out seems to loosen the wood up a little bit. If you have really strong hands, you can kind of pull this out, kind of break the seal of the wood in there. And that kind of helps too if you kind of really use your hand to kind of pull that out. So those are feeling pretty good. All right. So last thing is we'll just get this. So we've got our gimbal on, and last thing we want to do with the gimbal is thread lock each side. And we'll send you some thread locker blue or green. I like the green because it's a little bit stronger. So we'll just put this thread locker green. See, all I do is I pull out that screw bolt just a little bit, put the thread locker right in there, make sure not to get it on the cup or anything, and then I'm just going to twirl this in until it's flush. I kind of go back and forth to get a little bit of the thread locker deeper into the grooves and really make sure that, you know, once this is secure, it's not coming out ever. So I'll do that, and then I'll wipe. You gotta make sure to wipe off. And then if this were magnesium, what you'd want to do is use an alcohol wipe to wipe that off, because if you kind of wipe that into the magnesium at all, you're gonna get some paint chipping on your magnesium gimbal. So make sure to, especially with magnesium, to use an alcohol wipe to get all that thread locker off. Make sure there's no residue there, because it will erode any finish. And it's also, I guess, really important to mention that you also want to make sure none of that thread locker gets on the wood finish of your headphone, because that will erode away the wood finish of the headphone. So always best after this process to have a clean cloth that you're going to wipe all the finish on your headphone with, just for safety, and really make sure there's no thread locker anywhere on the entire headphone, because if there is, then there's going to be a chance that it's going to eat away at the finish, and you'll have something that doesn't look quite as good as it sounds and all that stuff. All right, so we're just getting thread locker here. New gimbal. Wipe away, and then just this last side with the thread locker. You can do this by hand too. Oh, that one's in there pretty tight. So now that that's done, the last thing we have to do is we got to get this headband on the headphone, right? So we've got our two rods. If your rods are not in your headband, they go in pretty easily. So this will have a bolt in it as it's sent to you, which will kind of lock this in. See how it's clicking through? So all you got to do is put these rods right through the top hole there and click it in. I'll show you one more time. So right through the top hole there, clicking through. And so what happens is, what I like to do is only have one rod in at a time, because we don't want this rod scratching the other part of the cup as we put that rod in. And it's the same process. We're going to take our thread locker. There's threads on the end of the rod. So you can see I'm putting thread locker on the end of the rod there. As you can see, it's thread locker green. And then I'm going in to the top of the gimbal, and then the cup just spins around. And so something to make it easier is I'll just flatten this headband a little bit, get the other side away, and then I'm just going to spin the cup in. There we go. And then when the cup's in, we'll wipe away that thread locker. One important thing to note is if you use the headphone a lot after this process, these may loosen a little bit before you want it to. So it's best to do this right before you go to bed or something, so the thread locker has a chance to cure overnight. That'll lead away any other problems. Then we're just going to do the same thing on the other side. So thread locker, it's like glue basically. It needs some time to settle and cure before heavy use. So just let it sit overnight. And then after this, the last step before you use your headphone is do some headband bending. We do have a separate video on that, so I'd recommend going to that video for all your headband bending needs. But yeah, then now we have our chassis together. Once you have your headband bent, you'll go ahead and find the right place for the rods on it. You can see right now the headband is malformed. You will need to do some headband bending, but as mentioned, that's in another video. Anyways, thanks for watching. That's getting the new gimbals on your ZMF headphone. If you're going from old to new gimbals or switching to a magnesium frame that we sent you. So yeah, just make sure to wipe your headphone off. Don't have that thread locker on the cups, and bend your headband when you're done, and you'll be ready to go. All right, thanks for watching.